Hello YouTube, just a quick video, getting the lawnmower out for the start of the season. Selling this house, so it's a little later than usual, so I just want to do the yard once, hopefully, and that's it. But every year, at least, by the way, you should change the oil in your lawnmower. And a lot of people do it at the end of the season, which is probably smarter than I do, honestly, but I'm going to do it at the beginning of the season. First things to understand, you're going to need a rag, some oil. I bought 5W30 oil as recommended by the manual. You're going to need something to catch the old oil in, the oil pan, and then you need the lawnmower. By the way, this is for lawnmowers without a drain plug on the bottom, because for some reason the newer lawnmowers, a lot of them don't have a drain plug, which I think is dumb, but at the same time, you don't really have a choice when you need a new lawnmower. So, alright, first things first, know that and check that there's no gasoline, because you're going to have to tip this lawnmower over to get the oil out, as the manufacturer tells you to do in the manual. So there's no gas in the gas tank. You don't want to flood the carburetor. You don't want gas going everywhere. Okay, second step, get your oil pan on the side of the oil intake, which is also the outtake now because there is no drain plug. And you're going to undo the oil. Now notice that it has the dipstick attached to it like a car. So you want to put this somewhere, and that's why you have a rag handy for now. And you put it right on the rag so that the dipstick doesn't get dirty, because you don't want dirt in your oil. And then you have to carefully tip this lawnmower to the side to get the oil spilling out into the oil pan. And this is probably the toughest part, which is why you want to line it up. And it's going to be even harder. I might have to put the camera down, I don't know yet. But put the lawnmower right next to the oil pan, and you're going to tip it over. For those of you who like safety first, you might want to detach the spark plug. Just pulling the boot off of it, so that way there's no accidental start. But I don't have any gas in this thing, so if you don't have any gas and you feel pretty safe, leave it on. That's just for overprotective people. And we're going to dump the oil out into the oil pan. Again, I might need to stop the camera. This might take 2 inches. You're just gonna basically tip it over into the oil pan, which I just did. You just want the oil, as much of it as you can, to get out of the lawnmower. Just a thought while your oil is draining out. If there was a drain plug, if you have an older lawnmower, and I prefer drain plugs, but again, most of the ones don't have it, so you have to tip them over. It would be located somewhere around on the bottom. It'd just be a little hex nut wrench thing to get the oil out. And as you can see, I do not have one. But also other things, you might want to check your blade while it's upside down. Make sure it's good. Mine's still good. It's only, I think my lawnmower is 2 years old, if I remember right. And it's doing pretty well. You want to check the drive belt. Make sure that there's no cracking, because you can replace those things. Yeah, and honestly, like, if you want to, see how the blade's kind of corroded and stuff, you might want to wash it down and get the remnants out. But I did do that at the end of the last season. It's just that some dried grass still was on there. So, yep, you might want to do those things while you're waiting. Okay, all the oil is in there. There's not much oil in the lawnmower, so it shouldn't take that long. Just wipe off any excess oil. And again, this is why I have a problem with new lawnmowers, because the oil goes everywhere when you tip it over. So you have to try your best to not get oil everywhere. And if you get some remnants of it, you do have to wipe it off. It is not a good thing to do, especially seeing that your muffler is down there and it gets hot, because it's going to burn any oil that might get down there. But I did not get oil down to the muffler. I got most of it in there. So now your next step is going to be putting the new oil in there. And before we do that, you want to check out your dipstick. I don't know if you can see that, but on this dipstick there are 2 arrows, And there's 2 holes. You can definitely see the holes probably. Sorry about the shakiness. I'm trying to keep my hand steady. You need to fill the oil up if you want max oil up to that second dot up. So that way you know you have enough oil in the engine. So when you buy oil, you do want to look at your manufacturer's manual. I know that mine needs 5W30, which is saving SAE 30. And you want to make sure that says for 4-cycle engines. And they'll tell you, usually on the bottle, if it's for lawnmowers, etc., etc. Small engine oil, 4-cycle engines. Another thing you might want is a funnel, so that when you pour the oil in, like I'm going to show you now, it will not splash around everywhere. Just put a little bit of oil in there, not a lot. About that much. Okay, let it sink in the bottom. Alright, and then we're going to gauge how much oil we have in there. So the next step that you want to do is take your dipstick, which is the cover that goes in here, and just wipe it down dry. And we already put oil on there, so we have to see how much there is. And again, you want to look at the end of your dipstick. Sorry about the focusing, but if you see the 2 circles there, it's just hard to see because it's hazy. There we go. It's a little bit better. All right. We want to fill up to that second dot right here. And that will mean full. So we're going to dip it in all the way down. I like to turn it like it's locked down there. And then you're going to pull it out. And you're going to see where the oil is. Okay? And the oil right now, again, not sure if you can see this. The oil right now is about here. It's on the bottom circle, which is the lowest that you want it. So we're going to add a little bit more oil. And we're going to try to get it to the second dot. Remember to wipe your dipstick every single time you check it. So keep it clean, and then we're going to go back in, put it in until we get to the second dot. Okay, the oil, and again, I don't know if you can see this, I'm sorry about the camera focusing, but the oil is up to the second dot. So we are good. So all you do is you put the cap back on. Make sure it's locked down tight. And you have successfully just done an oil change on your lawnmower. So after you cut your grass, you do one mowing after adding the oil. It's not a bad idea, just for a final check. Check your oil level, just to make sure that you do have enough. So again, you dry it off in the cloth. And then we're just going to stick it down really quick. Make sure we have enough oil. Just in, pull it out, and I am still on the arrow, so we're good. There is enough oil, and that's it. That will take care of you for at least half a season, if not a whole season, depending on how much you cut your yard.